All right, last set of homework answers. These last two are working with the exponential function and the logarithm function. We are still using methods of algebra to solve for an x in some equation. Problem 9 says solve for x when 7 equals 3 times 6 to the power x. The first thing I want to do is I want to divide by 3 on both sides of the equation. You might remember this from my previous lecture on logarithms that I posted last week. We're unwrapping that present. On the left-hand side, I have a rational number, 7/3. On the right-hand side, I have 6 to the power x. Now, it can be difficult sometimes to remember which logarithm we're supposed to be using. So what I'm going to do is I'm intentionally going to use a logarithm that doesn't exactly fit. So on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, I'm going to apply my personal favorite logarithm, the natural logarithm. You don't have to have the natural log as your favorite logarithm, but you should have a favorite logarithm. Anyway, what can I do here? I look at this equation. On the left-hand side, I have the description of some number. The logarithm is a function. I have given it an input, and that function will give me a real number as my output. I know that because 7/3 is a positive number, and every positive number has a logarithm. On the right-hand side, I say to myself, well, gosh, I can't do my cancellation. There's supposed to be stuff that's matching. But I can use one of the formulas for logarithms. Anytime I have an exponent inside the logarithm, I can move that down to the front as a coefficient. So this would be saying that x times the natural log of 6 is equal to the natural log of 7/3. And hey, that's really great. That gets my x down here where I want it to be. So again, this is a real number. This is a real number. And here is the variable that I want to solve for. So at this point in the problem, all I need to do is divide and say that x is equal to natural log of 7/3, whatever that is, divided by natural log of 6. At this point, maybe I remember, oh yeah, dividing by logs that match is the same as changing the base of that logarithm. So the answer to this problem is that x is equal to the logarithm of 7 divided by 3. And which logarithm is it? What is the number I'm supposed to put down here? Well, it's the number that's right down here. This is the logarithm base 6. Now let's look at that last homework problem. We have 8 equal to the natural log of x to the power 4. Now, for this problem, it is tempting to try that same exponent trick. However, because we're raising x to an even power, I could have a negative value for x here. You would be very well justified to say that 8 is equal to 4 times this natural log. But now I need to use absolute value bars, because this x could potentially be negative, and raising it to the fourth power would get rid of the issue of taking the log of a negative number. So working this out, I would say that a half is equal to the natural log of x. Exponentiating both sides would say e to the power 1/2 is equal to absolute value of x. And sometimes the absolute value of x is equal to plus x. Sometimes the absolute value of x is equal to minus x. So we have to take both considerations into account. Let's try this in a way that doesn't require us to be careful about the absolute values. Let's look at 8 equals the natural log of x to the power 4. And since I just have the natural log of something that I want equal to a constant, I'm going to exponentiate both sides. So this is the natural logarithm, which corresponds to e. So e to the power 8 is then going to equal e to the power natural log of x to the 4th. And those two functions will cancel each other, leaving x to the power 4. I don't get completely out of the water yet, because I need to take the fourth root. And just like I was saying on this side of the paper, sure, I can write x is equal to the fourth root of e to the 8, but because this is an even power, it could be plus or minus x as the solution. Now, why are these two numbers the same number, e to the power 1/2, the fourth root of e to the power 8? Well, raising something to the 8th power and then taking the fourth root is going to give me e squared. And yes, as I am saying this and as I am writing that out, I see the algebra mistake that I put down, and I'm sure you have been screaming at your computer screen for this obvious mistake. On the left side of the page, this should be 2, so this should be e squared. And hey, doing it a second way has helped me see my own mistake. This is the part where I'm kind of missing lecturing in person, because you'd all be throwing popcorn at me as soon as the problem shows itself on the board. It's a little bit more difficult at home. But at any rate, what I'm trying to say here is I'm trying to ask, what thing when raised to the 4th power gives me e to the 8? Well, clearly e squared is going to be that thing which, when raised to the 4th power, is e to the 8. Okay, that was a bit of a mouthful. 2 methods, 1 answer. I'll see you next time.